too many people are asking other expats if they know. I mean, they use social media. Does anybody know of a 3-bedroom apartment that takes cats and is in an area that has a nice lifestyle? Well, I don't know what your lifestyle is. I have no idea.
So, Rich, thank you so much for joining me
My
today.
pleasure.
So, we are here today to talk about your adventure moving as an American to Spain. So, you moved here how long ago?
6 years ago.
6 years ago. So, it's quite some time already in which you probably have a lot of experiences. What made you decide to move to Spain?
Well, it was one of those cases where all the tumblers came into effect at exactly the same time. My wife was in a job that suddenly came to an end. It's one of those jobs where you could kind of sense the company was making some big changes, and every day she would come home from work and she said, I don't know if I'm going to have a job in another year or 6 months or 3 months. And it turns out she was right. They dissolved she was a creative director, and they dissolved the unit and moved it to a different city. At the same time, my job was kind of coming to an end. It was a job where I didn't know if I wanted to do it anymore. And our daughter had just graduated from college in New York, and we were living on the West Coast. And we decided a couple of years before that, we had been watching a lot of travel shows.
Yeah.
And every time we saw something about a different European city, whether it was Holland or if it was Spain or Germany, something, we got very excited, and we thought, that might be kind of fun. We didn't anticipate how much work it was going to take to do that, and how much thought you needed to put into it. But we started planning it about 2 years before we did it, and then came the real job of selling the house and then actually physically moving. But yeah, we were enticed by the whole European lifestyle.
Yeah, I mean, of course, there's a lot more Americans and Canadians as well from the other side of the ocean moving here these days. It's the state agent I come across quite a few of them as well, more and more at least. And they're all giving a little bit of that same reason where they like to, have a bit of a slower lifestyle. I guess that was one of your reasons as well, if you're talking about the European lifestyle. I guess that you have some expectations once you're thinking about moving here, how that is going to be. But how is it in reality after living here for 6 years?
Well, the only thing I dislike is the bureaucracy. I love the people that I've met. I love the expats that I've met. The lifestyle is nice and smooth and easy. It's the weather you can't beat. Where I came from on the West Coast, it rained every day for 9 months, and everything was lush and green. But at the end of the day, you went to bed and it was raining, and you woke up and it was raining. And this is kind of a nice break. And that's one of the reasons we chose to live where we live. We could have lived in Madrid, which is, a bigger city, and I like bigger cities. Yeah. But the fact is that Madrid is very cold in the winter and very hot in the summer, as we all know. To me, this area, Costa Blanca, Valencia, all had everything that I was looking for. But you're entirely right. You have to do a lot of preparation before you go. It's not just selling your house and everything you own. It's also, getting the paperwork done here.
Yeah,
all that.
That's of course a big part of it, and especially as an American, because you need visas. You can't just come here, or you can only stay 90 days, and that's really when you have to return. So, how was that process for you? Was it relatively straightforward to get your visa sorted, or?
It actually was. We latched on to somebody who had a blog.
Okay.
We saw somebody, and it turns out that they lived about an hour away from us. We didn't know them, but they had this blog, and they did 1 through 10. Before you move to Spain, here are the 10 things you need to do in this order.
Okay.
So we just went down this list, and we didn't know these people. They could be completely full of it, but we saw this thing. We said, okay, now we're going to do this, and now we need to get that.
Yeah.
The big thing, as you know, and as everybody knows who lives here, is having to have everything translated into Spanish, having to have your birth certificate translated into Spanish, and your financial records and that sort of thing, because they want to know everything about you.
And not even just translated; it needs to be done by a sworn translator,
Exactly.
apostolized sometimes.
Exactly.
It's,
And in the States, apostille is is not a thing.
Yeah.
There, you have to. I had to go to the state capitol, which was about an hour away, to get something apostille, and I had to keep looking it up. Well, what is an apostille? I don't. It's not something that is used in the States.
Yeah, you pay quite something for it as
I
well.
know, I know, and we got that done. But if I didn't have this checklist, do this and then this and then this and then this, it would have made sense.
Yeah, I think there's a right time to start preparing everything,
Yes.
of course, and that's the same as we say as estate agents. There's a lot of people that start looking for houses before they even know what their budget is, and I guess that's the same with. I mean, of course, it's even more difficult with moving abroad. You first need to know, where am I going to live?
Yes.
What do they need? And really, once all that is sorted, what visa can I get? Then you start looking for houses and properties. So how was that process for you to finding? I mean, you live in Valencia now, so you got, of course, to that location. How did you then go on and find a property?
That's a very good question. We went through a real estate office, not too far from where we ended up buying, renting rather, from where we ended up renting. Too many people are asking other expats if they know. I mean, they use social media.
Yeah.
Does anybody know of a 2-bedroom apartment? Does anybody know of a 3-bedroom apartment that takes cats and is in an area that has a nice lifestyle? Well, I don't know what your lifestyle is. I have no idea. And I answer these people back and I say, contact a real estate person.
Yeah.
Contact a professional. Don't ask me. I'm just a guy. I'm a guy living in an apartment. I'm not going to tell you.
Maybe that's why they sometimes want that information from you.
But everybody wants to save money. That's the thing.
Yeah.
But it's penny wise, pound foolish. I found. But I went through a real estate agent who found a place like that.
Yeah.
They knew where everything was.
I think it's important just to use professionals in the area where
Absolutely.
you're looking, because in the end, there's only so much you can do yourself. And there's quite some people, I think, they think they can just take on this whole process, but then
Oh no.
kind of halfway through, or maybe even sooner, they're like, and then you have to then clean up sometimes the mess that's been made. Plus, so I think that's a really, really good advice.
I also tell people that they should rent before they buy.
Yeah.
And stay in an Airbnb for 2 or 3 weeks or a hotel and do something. Get a feel for the city, for the Costa Blanca or for Valencia. Get a feel for it, because asking people, is this a good neighborhood? Is that a good neighborhood? That's not good enough. If I watched all kinds of travel shows that said this was a good neighborhood, this one. And then when we moved here, we spent about 3 weeks and we went to all these neighborhoods and we said, oh no, it's not us. This is not where we want to go.
It's about a feeling as well, isn't it? And just of So going back to the lifestyle part, because of course you said initially that was the reason why you decided to move to Spain, to Europe, is for the European lifestyle. Can you tell a little bit about your daily life, like how it is right now, and if it met these expectations that you had before you actually moved here?
Not at all. Not even close. Because because now I'm retired, mostly retired. I still do some things from time to time, but I came from working 40 to 60 hours a week, and I had to show up for work in the morning, and I had to do my job, and and I had a house that I had to take care of, and I had a daughter living in the house with us who had just graduated from college. My wife had a job, so we were always doing things for the house. The house had to be maintained.
Yeah.
And now we live in an apartment, we rent, and we're living in an apartment, and every day is, I'd like to say every day is a little different, but kind of every day is the same. We have a little routine in the morning. We'll watch a little American television. And then we'll go out and just do stuff. We'll meet friends. We tend to meet a lot of expats. We meet for lunch or we meet for dinner or drinks or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm not too much on the 10 o'clock dinner. That's the one area where I kind of draw the line. I don't feel like eating dinner at 10 o'clock. my body can't handle it.
Just before going to sleep.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. But our day is spent just visiting or traveling. A lot of times I like to get in my car and just go and visit a city that I haven't been, or drive around, or just do all sorts of touristy things.
Yeah, because of course,
even after 6 years, I'm still kind of a tourist.
Yeah, and Americans, we're just before we started this interview, we were talking about it really briefly about, for Americans, I mean, you guys drive a lot, like 9
Oh, we
hours.
do.
It doesn't matter. So I would imagine you're doing that a lot here as well, or did you become a little bit more European in that sense?
I bought a car 3 months ago.
Yeah.
And it's given me an awful lot of freedom.
Yeah.
But you're entirely right, and anybody who says that is entirely right. Americans do like to drive.
Yeah. It's not a bad thing.
Just last week, we had a friend visiting from the States, and we drove up. I said, "Have you ever been to Sagrada Familia?" "No." I said, "Oh, we have to go." So we went up in the morning, and we came back at night.
Yeah, it's easy.
Nothing to it. And friends of mine who are from the UK go, "How much driving are you doing?" I go, "Well, nothing. It's."
Well, I think the good thing about Europe as well is that you have like the Ryanairs. You can easily just book a ticket, book a flight, hop on an airplane, and be in Rome or another city so close. And I think that's really.
But if I were in the UK and I were in London and somebody said, "Hey, let's go up to Edinburgh for the day," I would have no problem driving it.
Yeah.
I drive it.
You drive it.
It'll be a long drive. But I go, I got a car, let's go.
Exactly. No, it's really good. If you could give one advice to somebody from the United States or from Canada or from anywhere North America, you could give, what would it be?
Start early. It's going to take a long time. It could take you 6 months to a year to sell your house. And think of all the things you own that you have to either store or get rid of. Think of everything that you've bought in your lifetime. You have to put it somewhere.
Yeah.
You have to get rid of that. And I would say be patient and use a professional when you come over here. Find somebody who knows what they're doing. Otherwise, you're going to flop around like a fish. I saw somebody on social media about a year or two ago who said, "I have an appointment with my consulate in San Francisco tomorrow. Should I bring any papers with me?" Are you kidding? We prep for 3 months.
Yeah.
Put notebooks together. As Americans have to, we had to have financial statements, and
it takes a long time for the appointments.
It takes a long time, and Americans seem to have to jump through more hoops than a lot of other countries because we're not in the EU. But the process of coming here, if you start working on it today, with any luck, going through the consulate, getting your NIE. And if you work with somebody good, maybe you're moving in a year, maybe, But hire a professional. Get some good help. If you want to buy something or even rent, hire a professional.
Yeah.
Don't screw with it. On top of that, most Americans have a language issue.
Yeah, I mean, I think more people start to speak English, but still in Spain, Spanish is, of course.
It's a big thing. You're always going to have that issue. And I tell my friends back in the States, I had to have my boiler replaced. I had to have a new dishwasher put in. I said, and remember, I had to do it in 2 languages.
Yeah.
I'm asking for help when I don't really know what I'm saying sometimes.
Yeah.
No, you do the best you can.
But you took Spanish classes, right?
I did take a lot of Spanish lessons here. Yeah.
That's really good.
I'm not as fluent as I'd like to be, but I get by.
And little by little, that's how it goes.
Poco a poco.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's a really good one to wrap it up with. So thank you so much.
Sure.
And